Hello and welcome back to our news. This is the Kenyan Monitor TV. So, as of today, President William Samoei Ruto has been exposed by the Daily Nation and the Standard magazine, whereby President William Ruto, if there is one thing that was about to bring President William Ruto down during the Gen Z protest in 2024, was the JKIA Adani deal, which President William Ruto awarded a deal to a company from India led by one Adani. The company had been sanctioned by the US government for having been a corrupt company in the US West. And President William Samoei Ruto showed it's best to award the deal to them so that they would renovate the JKIA runway, which we all know that JKIA has been an airport that has been serving the peoples of Africa. It's even named the pride of Africa, that is the Kenya Airways. And JKIA has been one of the largest and the biggest airport, servicing a lot of foreigners or a lot of foreign travels in the African soil. And President William Ruto has seen it's best to go behind the Kenyan parliament and the Kenyan people to award a deal that had initially been cancelled. It was cancelled during the time when the Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga was alive, and when the Gen Z protest went ahead to occupy the Parliament of Kenya, saying that President William Ruto has been on the forefront selling the asset of the country. Whitnell Chivayo will partner with China Communications Construction Company through its CRBC subsidiary to expand at the JKIA airport. Kenya will contribute 1.3 billion US dollars, that's amounting to Kenyan shillings 168.4 billion to the project, while Chinese and local banks will provide the remaining funds. The tender, which was initially awarded in 2024 to Adani Group, was terminated following a US corruption investigation into the company. Whitnell Chivayo's company, IMC Construction Kenya, has reportedly secured a share in a 2.9 billion US dollars tender to expand Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The development underscores the Zimbabwean businessman's frequent visit to Nairobi and his close ties with President William Samoei Ruto. According to Zim Live, sources familiar with the transaction indicate that the state-owned China Communications Construction Company, which recorded 136.7 billion US dollars in sales in 2023, is partnering on the project through its subsidiary China Road and Bridge Corporation alongside IMC Construction Kenya. Chivayo, who is 45 years old, is a regular visitor to Kenyan State House, is the sole owner of IMC Construction Kenya. Kenya will contribute 1.3 billion US dollars to the project, while Chinese and local banks will provide the remaining funds. Nairobi established the National Infrastructure Fund using proceeds from the privatization of the Kenyan Pipeline Company to address the capital constraints that had previously stalled the project. According to the specifications published on February by the Ministry of Roads and Transport, the expansion will include a new terminal designed to handle 15 million passengers annually. The airfield capacity will increase from 14 to 63 aircraft movement per hour with the construction of a new runway by 2029. Currently, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport handles about 8.8 million passengers annually, exceeding its design capacity of 8 million passengers a year. The new deal represents a major increase in Chivayo's business empire. His companies in Zimbabwe have secured contracts totaling around 1 billion US dollars, including a 131 million US dollars for the 30 MW Gaires hydropower project, 173 million dollars for a solar power facility in Rwanda, and 163 million dollars to renovate the Muyati power station. For an estimated 200 million, US dollars. IMC Construction is also constructing two five-star hotels in the Serengeti and Gorogoro regions of Tanzania. Chivala, close ally of Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa, has been photographed with the presidents of Tanzania, Nigeria, Uganda, Zambia, Mozambique, Malawi, and South Africa, among other countries, using his political contacts to establish access around the continent. The tender, which was initially awarded in 2024 to Adani Group for an estimated 1.8 billion US dollars. However, it was later terminated following a US corruption investigation into the company and protests from Kenyan labor unions, which argued that certain construction provisions were not in the country's best interest. The project was subsequently re-advertised earlier this year, and after a competitive bidding process, it was awarded to a consortium led by China Communication Construction Company. We all know that President William Samoei Ruto needs good and enough money to campaign for his presidential election in 2027. So, President William Ruto will do anything in his power to secure the funds on which he will use to campaign. And one of the things President William Ruto is known for the 5 years or the 3 years he has been leading the Kenyan government, is privatizing every public asset in the country. As we all know, President William Ruto went ahead to privatize the Kenyan Pipeline Company, which was sold to the to the Ugandan government, and President William Ruto we all know the Parliament of Kenya did not support this move, nor did the Senate of Kenya support this move. But the President of the Republic of Kenya, President William Samoei Ruto, has captured the Parliament arm of government, and in anything that he does, the arm of the government tends to favor it. And that's why it's very easy for President William Samoei Ruto to privatize things or to give deals like the Adani deal, which was cancelled. We all know that this Adani deal is a deal that is going to cost Kenyans billions and billions of money from the tax that they have been paying. And President William Ruto, he has seen, because he has been blacklisted by the World Bank from borrowing loans, he has seen it best to borrow loans locally. Loans locally means that President William Samoei Ruto has the powers to borrow loans from the locally owned banks in the country. And we know President William Ruto as a businessman. He is the owner of the CDN Bank in Kenya. And President William Ruto knows very well, if you give a loan to the government, the interest rates will be amazing. And he will go ahead to borrow loans from his own banks and to borrow loans from his own banks in exchange to abandoning the already abandoned Kenyans in paying taxes and servicing the loan that he will take from these banks. What are your takes on this? Do you think this tender was advertised and was awarded fairly, or it's just mind games that the government is playing to the peoples of the Republic of Kenya? I would like to hear your views on this. Leave a comment on the comment section, like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is the Kenyan Monitor TV. Let's meet on our next video.